The Antichrist is here, and he's an old man, which means all of the things that were foretold must happen very, very soon. Let's talk about it. Has it seemed to you that evil has gotten stronger and more prevalent and in your face at every turn? It's because it has. The God of this world is not hiding anymore. Truth is trampled in the streets. Brother is against brother, and never before have parents been against their kids like they are today. And God knows marriage is harder than it ever has been before. Folks that should be staying together, myself among them, haven't. Why? Have you ever stopped to consider the effect that evil is having on our lives now? Jesus said that not one word will pass away until all these things have been fulfilled. His apostles talked a lot about the second coming of Christ. In fact, all my life I've listened to sermons and dining room conversations about, quote, the return of Christ. Conjectures and hopes mostly. But let's pause and see if we can see a few of the mile markers, some of the things that must take place before he returns. Ready? Let's do this. First and foremost, Jesus wanted us to know when it was getting close. Yes, he said, no man knows the day nor the hour of the coming of the Son of Man. It's known only to the Father. But he also said, you know the time of year it is by looking at the fig tree. Why can't you tell about the coming of the Son of Man? That is what the parable of the 10 virgins is all about. You got to be ready. But what are some of the signs of the times, quote unquote? Well, we know that the enemy, the devil, has handpicked his leader. And that means he knows who he is. And though he is not yet visibly filled with the devil, he is acting out every little detail of his role. But what will be his, quote, entrance onto the pages of history, do you know? Well, we are told he will be mortally wounded and then be miraculously raised from the dead. But if you wait until then to know who he is, you will already be on his path. In fact, all of the modern day church is following him already. They just don't know it yet. Why? Because the modern day church is the fake. It is the fraud. It's not authentic, and worse, it is led by the devil himself. But what are some of the other signs of the times? There are lots. Famine and pestilence in divers places, wars and rumors of wars, nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom. But Jesus said the end is not yet. But wait, there's more. The Antichrist will require the whole world to take his mark on the forehead or on the back of the hand. This mark is about allegiance and fidelity and control. The consequences of not taking the mark is that you cannot buy, sell, or hold a job. The God of this world is going to bring all of his power to bear on anyone who refuses to take his mark, punishable by death. But he has a special hatred for the Jews, so much so that he will bring all of the nations of the world to the Middle East for the purpose of annihilating Israel. Then when all seems hopeless, after he's killed or captured over 50% of Jerusalem, Jesus is going to return. But it won't be like what they tell you in modern day church services. Yes, Jesus will come back, but he's going to come back as a conquering warrior. He will kill armies, in fact, so many armies that the blood will run up to the horses' manes. This is the battle known to church people as Armageddon, or in the Norse, it's Ragnarok. Then, when his feet touch the Mount of Olives, it will split. He will then take those who are left to Bethany, where they will be safe while he mops up. After that, he's going to burn it all with fire. After that, he will bring down an already built new Jerusalem. And there will be the wedding feast of the Lamb. But let me ask you this. Who is he going to marry? Do you know? I'll give you a hint. It's not the modern day church. He will marry his bride, Jerusalem, the daughter of Israel. If you are lucky, if you endure to the end, you may get an invitation to the wedding. And if you do, make sure you go. Make no excuses. You see, by that time, the world will be breathing a sigh of relief that it's all over. There will be people eager to get back to, quote, their lives. They will say, I'm sorry, I cannot come to the banquet. Don't trouble me now. I've married a wife and bought me a cow. I have fields and commitments. that cost a pretty sum. Please hold me excused. I cannot come. But you see, they have misunderstood the invitation. That casual invitation has come from a proud Father, the Most High, the Father of all. It is your Creator who is requesting your presence to celebrate His Son's wedding, and you refused Him. You won't be excused. You will be deemed unworthy. He will then send His servants into the slums, saying, "Those who I requested are unworthy, but the banquet hall will be filled. Go, compel them to come in." Then after that, the bride of Christ is going to rule and reign with Jesus for 1,000 years. But over whom? Do you know? Have you thought about it? Over all the people groups that are left. That's who. Jesus will rule the world from His throne in Jerusalem, and His bride will administer governments on His behalf. That is the true story of the second coming of Christ. Yes, there's a lot of crappy stuff that must take place first. America will fall. In fact, America will fall very soon. Famine will be widespread, mostly due to atomic desolation. Deceit and treachery will be unparalleled. Water, clean water, will be hard to find, and evil will look like it has won. Then there are other little things like red heifers in Jerusalem, the daily sacrifice being reinstated, a treaty between the Antichrist and Israel, which he breaks, death of witnesses publicly with no burial, and China coming down the dry bed of the Euphrates River, etc., etc., etc. I could go on and on, but the truth is, all of that, everything that could be mentioned about what is prophesied, is just fruit on the fig tree. You should already know it. You should already be aware and focus on maximizing your efforts for good. Why? Because we were told this information long ago so that we would be vigilant, so that we would stay awake. A famous phrase I like is that all that needs to happen for evil to prevail is for good people to do nothing. Sleeping on your watch may feel good in the moment, but it ends in death, your death. Therefore, be vigilant. Your adversary, the devil, prowls about like a roaring lion, in broad daylight, I might add, seeking whom he may devour. It is all happening now. In fact, it's already started. Wake up. Call upon God, not to save yourself, rather to see where He needs godly people who hear their Father's voice and fight evil for as long as the breath of God remains in them. Knowing this, you are not alone, so fear not. Evil has already been overcome. Therefore, overcome evil with good.